going to talk a little bit about mediumship now, because this is how the messages came through. So the other side is actually, there are lots of layers to the other side. But the earth plane of the spirit world, the earth sphere, the earth layer of the spirit world, is very close to us. And the other side, not just from the earth plane, but high up through the heavens and into the celestial realm, which are two separate things, which I learned about in the messages, are constantly communicating with people on earth and desperately trying to shake people and wake people up. But they have a really hard time getting through. They have a really hard time getting through. And the reason they have a hard time getting through is there are laws in place. There are natural laws like the law of aerodynamics and the law of gravity and physics, other physics laws, and then there are spiritual laws that God has set up in his creation for his own purposes to make this grand design work. And the biggest, single, most important one is that every single soul has unassailable free will. Period. So what happens is we get down here, and if we're running around in our own minds and our own heads doing our own thing, that's all you're ever going to get. That's what you get. The only way for you to get assistance above and beyond and outside yourself is to ask for it. You have to ask for it every time. Every single time. Because God wants you to be individual. God wants you to be free. And God has given you the potential, and that's all it is. It may never come to be. But God has given you the potential to literally be his heir of the celestial realm. A genuine family member of. But you don't get that as a gift. You have to give it. And what that means is you have to give of yourself to God. God has given you the potential and the opportunity, but you get to choose whether you give of yourself to God. That's your choice. So getting to the mediums. So here's the deal about mediums in terms of the laws. So lots and lots of messages. We get bombarded all the time. And if you come about like, you haven't called your grandma lately. You really should call your grandma. You know, she kind of needs you. Or how long has it been since you've seen your mother? You know? Or remember that little boy across the street? He could use a little bit of extra attention. It's little tiny inklings that you get. And it takes practice to discern what is you, what is your thought, and what is coming to you from somewhere else. And the first step to, everyone gets these messages. There's nothing special about me. Okay? Everybody gets them. The difference might be that I'm aware. So the first step is to become aware that that thought that just popped in your head may or may not be from you. And over time, if you start paying attention and just being aware, you can start to tell. It's just like the voice of a friend on the phone. When you're first meeting, they may have to say, hey, it's Kate, you know, hey, it's Kate. But after a year or so, hey, now you know it's Kate. I don't have to say it's Kate. So it's the same kind of thing. So here's the problem with messages coming through and with mediums and with going to a medium and hearing, you know, a message from your dead mom or your dead dad. There's a couple problems with that. The biggest single one is most of those messages, almost all of them are coming from the earth sphere, and the earth sphere has very little truth. The earth sphere is filled with spirits who were humans, who have died, who were not very well developed in their soul when they crossed over. So they're very little changed from what they were when they were walking on the planet. So whatever knowledge, belief systems, or anything else that they had when they were on the planet, they crossed over, they're still there. It's easiest for us to receive messages from the earth plane because it's all about energy and the law of attraction and you're in harmony. It's just like you turn on a radio. If you want rock, it's 105.7 or 107.9. If you want a classical, it's a 90.1 or whatever. You're not going to get, you can't get classical in the 100s and you can't get rock in the 90s. So wherever you are in your soul development, that's the quality of the messages that are coming through to you. So most people are not very developed in their soul development, even mediums who see people and hear people, they're not that well developed, so they're really just getting a lot of stuff from the earth sphere. There are people in the earth sphere who lie. If they lied on earth, they're still lying. So you can get a truth through a medium and a message, and even people can say, oh, it's fine over here, weather's fine, I'm doing great, and they're lying. They just don't want you to worry about them. They're actually not doing so well, you know. So the problem with mediumship and messages is how do you tell what's real? How do you tell what's not real? It's very, very challenging. And what I did, so what happened to me with these messages were channeled to a single individual. And by the way, there are a lot of works out in the world that have been channeled and you may be familiar with. Things like, anybody know of Abraham Hicks? Asking and is given, right? That's a channel work. That's pretty high. That's probably a 6th sphere. I'm going to just guess. And we'll go, the sphere thing that's pretty high, but it's not celestial. But that's pretty good stuff. But A Course in Miracles, I'm going to bump that down a few levels, but it's okay. And you get some stuff through these things. But the problem is that it's the quality of the messages coming through are only as pure as the medium receiving them. And sometimes they're more successful than others. And, Baha'u'llah, got a lot of really good messages.